Welcome to the Mindful Garden. It's a beautiful day outside, not a beautiful day inside for me, but that's life. Let's start out as usual and center myself so we can have better communication. So, with 3 deep breaths, I try to drop myself into my heart space. What are we going to talk about today? Well, today I'm pissed off. So that's what's bringing me up to this. I woke up pissed off. I can't help for some reason but be pissed off. And every little thing triggers me. As I get into that, it shows me what I need to work on, or what I need to work on externally to remove those triggers. So let's start with one thing that's been egging at me is my relationship with my daughter, which is hard for me because she doesn't speak to me and she hasn't contacted me for years. And even though I haven't tried really to contact her, there's so much pain in that I find is hard to deal with. And to bring healing to that, I don't necessarily know what to do because I need to reconcile my relationship with my daughter somehow when she's not speaking with me, not willing to contact me or anything. I do put it out there in the ether quite often for her to forgive me for being human, which would be nice, because it would be nice if people would accept each other for being who they are instead of trying to have them stand up to a false illusion that they have in their eyes of that person. And that is where a lot of my anger comes from, because of my relationship with my father as well. And the complete disconnect, let's call it that. My brother was the chosen one. I was not. My brother was taken to every one of his baseball games willingly. My dad never drove me to a single one of my sporting events. Not even one to my recollection, actually. And that pain and anger from that relationship wells up frequently and gets in the way in my life, and has been a very hard thing to deal with because it has left me with a void in myself that I've been having a hard time filling. Now, they say fill it with self and self-love and all that, but for me, I see the same thing being perpetuated in other people's relationships. I see the damage it did between me and my daughter. I see all of that, and it's hard to get past the anger. And it shows me just how much work I have to do in that department to heal that wound. As we look at what things anger us, like, for instance, like a little thing that angers me, that it's coming up, and it's daylight savings time. And it's a thing that we've built up in society. I would love to do for my daughter what I did. I tried to be there for her. Work took me away. Life took me away. Those are just excuses, I guess. I could have sacrificed more, I guess. There's lots that could have been done. But I look at the things that trigger me, and there's lots of little things that trigger me because I see perpetuated harms that build up in people. And these perpetuated harms only serve to destabilize our society. And it unfortunately makes it so that we further perpetuate trauma because we are afraid and fearful and angry, and we take that out on the environment around us. As we try to face the situation, it's important to understand why we're being triggered. Now, does the daylight savings time trigger me because it does something adversely to me? Well, yeah, it does. Every year I get jet lag because of that. And it breaks me out of a system that I'm trying to get myself into, a habitual system. But our society does not like people having a reasonable routine. And stability in people's lives is shifting constantly, and that lack of stability leads to anger and stuff like that. Where am I going with this? Anyway, I know that my anger is not right to be taken out on those around me. So I usually go within and try and work on it and try and figure out ways to heal the damage that has been done to me and the world around me without anger and love, which is hard because it's like the world has been turned into sandpaper and it just rubs everything in me the wrong way. And how can I fix that? If I listen to my spiritual self says remove myself from the situation, which is almost impossible because that would mean removing myself completely from society, which is not something I really want to do because I do not want to disconnect from people. I want to connect with people better and get a better understanding of people, but I want to have a respectful relationship with the environment around us. And I think that a part of the biggest problem is we don't address what triggers anger in people because we put all of the blame on that single person. And yes, it is my choices that have put me into this situation. But some of those choices were made in a position where I had my hands tied behind my back. Making the decision to leave my wife was for the betterment of myself. And it made it so that it put a bigger wedge between me and my daughter, which I could get into, but I'm not going to, because there's anger there, and I don't want to bring that up. And I wish I could see a way to undo the negative attachments that have been brought on me by myself and those who have sought my change into a direction that they wanted and not for me. And that's probably where the biggest part of my anger is because my whole life I've been trying to walk a path for the earth, and society drags me down this path where if I want to at least connect and fit in, I have to follow and fit. I don't, where am I going? I don't know. The frustrating thing, I know what to do, it's better for me. I know what to do, what's better for the world. But every time I take a step in that direction, I am beaten down. I'm beaten down by the words my dad told me when I was young. I'm beaten down by the lack of acceptance from society. I'm beaten down by not having my voice heard. And it's simple things like that. To have your voice heard, for instance, that is an important thing for us to release anger. Because if we can release what is within us, then we can get past it. So speaking clearly and attentively, which is hard when you're angry, is not promoted. We don't allow people to vent their anger in reasonable ways. We tell them to stifle it. We get them to drink. We get them to eat food. We do many things to stifle this anger towards the world. And why do we have this anger towards the world? Because we see the world as against us. I think now it's extremely difficult to connect with others because we are facing our triggers and trauma. Oh, this is a good one. Triggers and trauma. So everyone is on the edge of taking everything personally. Finding and pointing out little things that we all have in common can help bring us together. We feel that we have the same emotions. I believe you are in the right path by simply being open and vulnerable and speaking about these things. Yes, very true. That is exactly it. It's our lack of connection. Like, if I really want to get down to what makes me angry, is the fact that when I was young, my connection to spirit was severed on me. And how was that severed? It was severed through destroying every little thing that I had hoped for. And we do that to our children more and more than we realize. And we stifle their dreams and we crush them. And I don't know how to convey, Our media needs responsibility. Our society needs responsibility. And we all need to take responsibility. And it is that shirking of responsibility towards our youth and investing in them that I think leads to us perpetuating this trauma, sorry. Well, drama, yes, the drama of life. But we can release anger through things like physical activity and that, but that hasn't been working for me lately. And I have a petrol alarm in my head, which does not help at all. And anyway, just speaking about it has helped today. I've let it out some. I wish I could wake the people up. I wish I could wake people up to letting the inner children be healed around the world. And that is a big problem. Because I see that we stifle our inner child a lot. I don't know. When I started this, I knew all I was going to do was rant if I let it happen. So let's let a little rant out. I'm angry at what we do at each other, the trauma we put towards each other. I'm angry at that. I'm angry at my own trauma. I'm angry that it takes so much to heal something that should have been not given to me in the first place. I cannot express enough how I see someone who is just cold-hearted and not helping the world and taking everything for themselves, and yet we idolize that and we promote that, and our media perpetuates that. We even have a president now that sits upon a golden chair, and I can't like following a guy that lives in a golden palace. Why? Why would somebody who wants to surround himself with gold and younger women be looked up to so? Be thought of as a savior so? Be such a beacon for how not to do things, and yet people idolize him for it? Anyway, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to close out with a prayer to open hearts, especially mine right now. May the prayer open the hearts of the cold-hearted. May a prayer open the hearts of the steel-hearted. May we see healing around this world. May we see healing within. I don't even know where to begin or go. I don't know. You guys have a good night. Hopefully this one has been at least reasonable. But I don't know.